Hi all, in this video we're going to have a quick look at some basic rules around how to do dimensioning of floor plans. So we're just going to use this simple little project which some of you will recognize as our example. So the first thing that we are going to do is we need to divide this building into different sections so that it helps us decide whether we're going to put our dimensions on which side, or on the top or on the bottom. So as you gain practice with this, these imaginary lines that we're going to start looking at, you will just automatically do them in your head visually. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to actually show you with drawn lines, and I would recommend that as you get used to doing dimensioning, that you do actually draw a few lines in for yourself, just to confirm that you're dimensioning these projects properly. The only thing is you do have to remember to remove these lines before you submit any of your assessments or your work. So the first thing that we do is that we draw some lines straight down the middle of the project. So we draw one vertically, halfway between the ends, and we draw another line horizontally, halfway between the width of the building. So this starts to break our project up into halves, and it gives us some guides for working out where we're going to place our dimensions. So for example, anything that's in this yellow shaded area, which is to the left of our vertical line, these walls, the horizontal walls, will be dimensioned over here on the left hand side of the project. Similarly, anything that's in this yellow section on the right hand side of our vertical line will be dimensioned over on the right hand side of the project. And then carrying on from this, any walls that are in the top half of the project here, above our horizontal line, they will be dimensioned and placed up here on the top side of the project. And lastly, anything that is on the bottom side of our horizontal line here will be dimensioned on the bottom side of the plan. So that gives us a really good beginning look at whether we put the dimensions on the top or the bottom of the plan, or to the left or the right of the plan. So now we're going to see how we work out what is going to be in these rows of dimensions and what order that they're placed in. So I'm going to start by putting in this blue line here. So this line here represents the dimensions that are shown in this row of dimensions here. You will notice that this is the row of dimensions that's closest to the building, to the modelled elements. And this blue line here is the line that is closest to this red line that indicates our switching point. If this blue line was over on the right hand side of our right line, it would represent a series of dimensions, or a row of dimensions, over on the right hand side of the building. So this line here is going through the front line of the porch and then through all of these walls that go through the building. And as you can see, these dimensions reflect this. So we have our front line of the porch, we have the depth of the porch is 960 mils. We have our wall width, we have the depth of our entry, a hallway, our linen cupboard, and then the rest of the laundry there. Note that here we don't have any wall thickness, because there is no wall there. It is just simply the edge of the front porch. So this second row of dimensions then must be represented by a line that is to the left of this blue line. If it was represented by a line that was in between our blue line here and our red center line, then this row of dimensions would be on the other side of the highlighted row. So using our practice of working our way out the building, we will now look at the next row of dimensions, and that's this row here. Now I've chosen to do this line here for a couple of reasons. So in our first row of dimensions, we we showed a line that was going through this wall and this wall. And we note that that's the same wall that carries through. So there's no need to put another row of dimensions representing this line through here, because this wall is already placed in this row of dimensions, and this wall here is placed as well in that row of dimensions. So we need to look at some more walls that need to be placed. Keep in mind that the whole point of doing this line through the building is because this represents what the trades will actually do on site. When they turn around and they need to place a tape measure and then run out their tape measure to mark where these walls are going to come. This is why we don't have a line that steps at all, because we need to represent what the trades are going to be measuring on site in their straight lines across the slab. So this new blue line here is represented by this second line here, the next line out from our modelled building. So we're placing a wall that we already know, but that's okay because it's giving us the depth of that wardrobe as well as the depth of the bedroom. And then it's giving us the length of this hallway, and it's helping us to place the toilet wall, which in turn is also placing this wall here in the walk-in robe in one of the other bedrooms. So we've placed this line through, and now that gives us our second row of dimensions. So the next line to place is here. We're again working our way out of the building, and this is going to now place this new wall here, which has been introduced. Now, when you look at this, that line could be in line with this one, but at the end of the day, you don't want the trades on site trying to sight along that wall to see if it actually is lined up. So we provide them with a dimension line there that will help them place this wall accurately, and sometimes that actually will be different. It will be out by a certain amount for various reasons. So that new blue line is represented by this last line, or last row of dimensions here. And then on all sides of our project, the very, very final line of dimensions is always an overall dimension. It's like a double check. You put the overall dimension on this side here, and you put another one on the other side, and it confirms that everything that's being dimensioned between those two external points on both sides all add up. And it just helps with setting out of the project on site. So that's how this left-hand side of the building has been dimensioned. Now we're going to look at the bottom side of the building. So our first line, our first full row of dimensions here, we will talk about this little row of dimensions in a minute, but we're going to concentrate on our first full row of dimensions here initially. So that's represented by this blue line here. So it's going through our bedroom, its walk-in robe, the toilet, the bathroom, the laundry, dining room, kitchen, and then the carport. And it's represented by all of these dimensions along here. Note that when we get to the carport, we have actually dimensioned the position of the post, even though the post isn't cut by this line. But that's okay, because it stands to reason that row of posts are going to be in line with each other, because they've got a veranda beam on top of them, so they must be in line. And so it's common sense that those three posts are all dimensioned here on our project. Now, the only catch is with this line is that we have actually missed the depth of this linen cupboard here, which is why we've added this extra set of dimensions in here. Now, if you wanted, you could actually make that a full row of dimensions all the way through. But for clarity, I've decided on this project that I was just going to show the depth of the cupboard there. There was no need to double up on all of these other dimensions. So the only thing that you need to keep in mind when you're doing a small row of dimensions is that it must turn around and relate to something in a full row of dimensions so that you can place it. And in this instance, the walls on either side of the laundry we're still dimensioning them. They line up with the dimensions for the same walls on that full row, and therefore we're able to place this in, and it's very easy for the guys on site to go, okay, so it's 1690 between these two dimensions, and here if we run off this same wall, we go back 530. And that is the simple basic rules around how to dimension floor plans.